Who gets to define beauty? We've all heard that saying, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Who's the beholder in this situation? Who's the beholder that is defining the traditional beauty standards that revolve around this obsession with a youthful appearance?
How long has it been since your husband asked you to dance? Could it be your gray hair makes you seem older than you are?
My hair was dull and gray, and my life seemed dull and gray. Dull, streaked with gray.
Maybe your gray hair keeps you from looking as exciting as you still are.
Nature is forcing you to make a decision.
If you hate that gray, wash it away. Wash it away.
My gray hair looked awful. So when he called me his old lady...
I still call her my old lady.
My gray hair makes me feel so old. Because even one gray hair is too many.
Never go gray, never go gray.
'Cause you're too young to look old.
L'Oréal Paris presents a horror story.
Root killer time.
Magic retouch.
Sorry, I'm a little psycho about covering gray roots. Cover, cover, cover. Sorry.
So when the lady looked at her reflection, what did she see?
That she had gray roots, like right here. She doesn't like it.
She doesn't like it?
She wants to stay young. They're kind of like saying that you should cover it up because they think that you wouldn't be that beautiful if you would have like white hair.
What do you think about that message?
Rude.
My mom has always loved me, has always wanted to protect me. But her style was by telling me how to be beautiful. But I very, very vividly remember thinking I was not beautiful. When I had my daughter, I knew immediately what I did not want to do. I wanted her to know that I thought and believed that she is beautiful in every single way. I wanted her to know that beauty wasn't just about the color of her skin, the shape of her thighs. Her heart mattered, her brain mattered, everything mattered. So from day one, I would say, she's beautiful. I would tell her, you're my beautiful girl. I love you. I love everything about you. I was never told that. I was never told that I was beautiful growing up. I want my daughter to have something different than what I had. Women feel pressured to continually pursue youthful beauty standards. So now we're at a point where we don't even know what real aging looks like.
We had to get the Drunk Elephant sunscreen as part of the scavenger hunt.
What is your skincare routine?
Honestly, cleanser, moisturizer, and maybe a toner.
This is not what a typical person in their mid-60s looks like. It's time for a change. For this project, I wanted to work with women who looked different from what we are seeing in mass media and who are also experiencing life in different ways than what we think women making this decision should be experiencing. Natasha, she was my first yes.
This project allows me the opportunity to support those who may be struggling with this journey.
Her whole family is actually gray, and I had never experienced anything like that before. Then we have Claudia.
I'm so excited to be part of the White Hair Don't Care film project.
And given her profession, is doing something that is a career killer for her. But she's out there doing it and not giving two shits about it. Then we have Denisse.
Porque quiero romper con los estereotipos que hay en la sociedad y que asocian las canas únicamente con envejecer.
And this is what I loved about her story. It is a spiritual connection. Our expression of aging is something that we should all pursue. Then we have Shyamala.
To age gracefully according to my own terms, not society's terms, has probably been the greatest portal to my personal power.
She's helping people achieve a higher state of being by deeply connecting with first who they are. Rachael.
I want to show the world that gray hair can be beautiful, incredible, amazing, magical, vivacious.
Her story includes a partner who fully supports her decision to do this.
You know, when you don't see yourselves in advertisements in beauty, when you don't see yourself in, you know, commercials, TV, movies, you really don't have anything to aspire to, or, you know, you really can feel invisible or not good enough or not pretty enough. And that's just been the same evolution with going gray. You know, you don't see women over a certain age in beauty advertisements. You know, we're not seen in the cosmetic, you know, social media realm as much. It's changing, but it's kind of the same.
If we don't speak up, there'll never be change.
The beauty industry has traditionally been about not what you need, but unmet needs. That's the language that we would use. Uncover unmet needs, which is create a need, you know? And so that's what the industry has always been about. It's creating, you know, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years ago, nobody wore anything on their brows. Now it's, or for any reason, now it's the brows. Then now, you know, before it was a moisturizer, now a moisturizer, a serum, a glow, or this and that, and oil. I mean, it's like unmet needs. That's the model. It's you create the desire for something, and it is a very emotional, at the end, payoff of wanting to look beautiful.
One of the things that I notice is that the age group that has the most difficult time with women growing out their gray hair are older women. When I say older, I mean 75 and up. And somebody in my family was very against me growing out my gray and actually told me that my hair was offensive and that I should hide my roots, that I should not let them show. So that is how deeply ingrained these beauty standards are with older women, with the advertisements from, you know, back when they were growing up. But it's been the best decision for me that I've made.
I think it's kind of still a little bit, have some manipulation there, because in the end of the day, people try to sell you product, right? And if we really try to encourage people to feel very confident, they're not going to spend so much money trying to search for what is this product that's going to make me look perfect. When you have someone behind a brand or something that they do it from the profit side, it will be very hard for them to change.
So are you saying it's more profitable for people to be afraid of aging?
Up 100%, yes.
Why?
Because they're going to keep shopping for product to try to find what can make them look younger, and again, what's going to make them look perfect.
Companies do a pretty good job of like taking girls through being girls to being women. So products for teenagers, products for their acne, new makeup and things like that. But then the next big change in hormones that happens in life, it's not even talked about. It really is a taboo.
My bioidentical estrogen cream, progesterone cream, a touch of testosterone. She's the hormone whisperer.
I remember every time we kicked off a project, an advertising project, you know, we had to create a brief. The first thing that brief had to have was target consumer. Who are you targeting? Back then, we always have to write target consumer, women 18 to 44. That was whether you were selling Pantene or dishwashing or, you know, Tide. It was always the same. And so I remember always joking in the room saying, okay, what happens to women after 45? They kind of disappear. You know, it was kind of like a standing joke. And then it wasn't as funny anymore because that became me, you know, that was myself.
So now we're at a point where we don't even know what real aging looks like. The younger generation is watching us and they're in a panic.
And to anyone who's over 30, what are we supposed to be doing?
So I'm 44, turning 45 soon.
And when I think back to my 30s, I'm like, yo, I had a great time in my 30s. Moved around, relocated myself, came to a new city.
It's time for a change.
Your gray hair makes you seem older.
My life seemed dull and gray.
I still call her my old lady. I still call her my old lady.
So when I was thinking about the conversations that I wanted to have for the White Hair Don't Care film, I knew that I wanted to speak with ladies who have already made the decision and experienced growing their grays for quite a bit of time. I went directly to Instagram to see who on social media was talking about it. Having experienced kind of social media influencer retreats, like working with teams who do that, you need to have a draw. White Hair Don't Care is going to Mexico City. Mexico City, it was like a huzzah moment. Like, yes, October, that's when they're starting to plan for Dia de Muerte, which is Festival of the Dead, right? Because we've talked about why people are afraid of aging. They're afraid of aging because it reminds them of dying and their death. But here we have a country, a city, a people that celebrate the cycle of life. One of the big events that I planned as part of the filming was a hair and makeup session. We don't see older skin or older hair being done up in that way. La Catrina is a big part of that celebration as well. She symbolizes questioning societal standards.
When we get older, we need to go deeper. All the phases in age is a reminder of that. Like, we are gonna die, all of us. Let's make the best of what we have.
We're used to seeing maybe one woman in a crowd with white hair. That's why it was important for me to bring these women together in one location, because even for me growing up, I've never seen that many women with gray hair happily showing it. Were there obstacles or challenges that y'all had to face in the world around you, with your own world? Family, friends, work. How did that journey look for you through the 6 to 12 months after you made the decision?
My friends, for the most part, were very supportive. I still think that some of them do not like my hair. Which
Have
is
they
okay.
openly said it to you, or?
No, they'll say things like, well, I don't hate it. You know.
When they don't say something positive, you can see that is something that...
Like, I'll say, like, I know you don't like my hair. It's not that I don't like it. You know, I don't hate it. But that's
or like
okay.
we were talking about yesterday, when they say, well, you can pull it
Yes.
off, but I could never do
Yes.
it. Or if my hair could look like yours, then I would do it. But we were saying, is that truly a compliment, or is that kind of like a underhanded?
I think it's a backhanded.
Yeah,
I think it's a
yeah.
backhanded compliment, because if you're pulling it off, that means that it's not acceptable.
Yeah.
When
It's
you know,
not your best.
if you're able to pull
Yeah.
something off, that means you're, you know,
It's not
an acceptable,
attractive.
acceptable way to be, but you can pull it off.
There's a lot of gray curious people. You know, they're curious. They really are intrigued by it, and I think that's why, you know, we've gained followers, because women just are very curious. This is something they haven't seen, and especially when all of us have been so public about it. You know, like you said, like your family member said it should be hidden, it should be private. I think that's still kind of an internal thing that we think, like, don't show your roots. That's a hashtag, you know, or like, you know, yeah, just don't let that happen. So I think that's a lot to it. I had somebody say something similar on one of my posts. They had said, do you notice that all the women commenting on her posts or giving her compliments are women? Where are the men? You see no men complimenting her. And I was just like, first of all, we're not here for male attention or male compliment. I could care less. But that is really telling also of what women think. Like, men aren't gonna like it.
Yeah, and they feel, women think that we really need the men's validation. Like, they don't believe we are not seeking for it. And it's because they are just reflecting themselves, because they need that validation. And for sure, probably in the past, I will look for that validation, but at this stage, I'm just like, not
Well,
at all.
and the irony in that is that I've probably received more unwanted male attention than I ever have in my entire life.
Yep, it doesn't stop.
Yes.
In my life, I have never received as much male attention.
That's true.
And it's funny because single friends of mine are like, oh, I wish I could, but I'm single and I feel like no one will want to date me if, and I'm like, you'll probably get so much more attention if more male, which she wants male attention. So I think that that's something people don't realize.
And I was told that too. My friend had told me when I started going gray, well, you're never going to meet anyone. Like, you're never going to, who's going to want to date you, basically, is what she was saying.
Beauty has been defined by the male gaze. Like, what is it that men find attractive? And I think it's been that way historically. I think it is still that way. It's probably shifted a little bit. But I think predominantly beauty standards and even how a woman experiences herself is determined by the male gaze. Do men find me attractive?
Can you describe a typical room that you would sit in those days discussing marketing and advertising for beauty brands? Who was sitting in that room with you making these decisions?
Men, white men. I mean, to be honest, for many years, I was part of the problem. I was the young person in the room saying, this 25-year-old looks great in this anti-aging commercial, So I have to admit that I was also part of the problem. Even though I started seeing it, I didn't do much about it.
Imagine that one day where we don't need to think about white hair, don't care. We can put that hashtag away. I wonder if society of that time would feel more balanced. Ask, why am I afraid of aging? To get off of autopilot. The more examples we can put out there of people who are changing, who are making the hard decisions for themselves, who are going through the hard thing and coming at the end thriving and happy, the more we can show that, the more people will have come and join them. Can you talk to me about an example of a client that you helped?
I have a funny story, yes. Yes. Come here every 3 weeks to color her roots because we have one gray hair, you can see it. So she, as a business perspective, this is great, but that's not who I am. So I was like, hey, Cynthia, maybe we should, start letting your hair go gray. She's like, no. And so what I've done, I looked at pictures with a similar feature to her, with female with gray hair. And I will start sending her messages, look at this, and look at that, and kind of start to show the positive about that. And she kind of laughed at me because she's like, you're losing money. And I'm like, but it's making me happy. She decided to give it a try. So we moved all the hair color that she had, and we helped her to kind of transfer to a gray hair. After she came back, she didn't even have an appointment. She's like, I have to tell you what happened. And I'm like, what's going on? She's like, we were after this party, and the owner of the restaurant came and told me that I'm so beautiful. And that was the first time that she went out with her gray hair in public. This is her new thing. She's just like loving it, and she's like telling all her friends, you guys have to go gray. I think it's make her feel even more empowered that she have gray hair in her age, and people still look at her, and people still think that she's beautiful. So I think that she's the most confident that I ever saw her before.
How is life better after 45?
Better self-awareness. Better sense of what's important.
Better sex.
I'm better, not younger.
Instead of making women feel insecure and bad for aging, what I want to do is make them feel like, hey, there are products out there that are for you, and they look just as beautiful as the Gen Z products out there, and they're just as cool, and look at all these women that use them and they're beautiful, and then look at all these celebrities that are either, they're leaving their hair gray or they're showing their wrinkles and they look beautiful. And I think that's what I want to do with this brand, which is like really portray women for who she really is and how she's really feeling.
The biggest shift that happens for women who truly not just allow themselves to go gray, but celebrate it and fully embrace it, is that it truly does shift the paradigms that we hold within ourselves. And so our entire energy shifts, like our energetic makeup changes with that decision. Because it is a difficult decision, and it's also a very powerful decision. It's a very empowering decision. It feels inevitable that we would begin to co-create new and more powerful realities for ourselves. Like the internal shift creates a new external reality for us, and I think that's the magic of what we have all experienced here.
Like my tattoo says, my name is Victory. It's a constant reminder to myself, I will always win. It's not only about gray, it's just women. The empowerment for us to understand that we are so capable and we are just so powerful, and we just need to put that forward. I think the world needs us.
Well, would you ever dye your hair again?
I don't know. It makes complete sense for me today to not color my aging hair, but will it make sense to me 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, 6 months down the line? I don't know, but I want that choice to be open for me. I want to have that option, because why not? I don't want to be told what to do. I don't want people to hold it against me, a decision I made yesterday, and if I change my mind about it tomorrow. Those are my choices. It's my life. It's my decision. And I want to be free to make it.